LNI and 241. Oh is back. Is it to blame for, after a spring that soaked parts of California and saw destructive tornadoes rip through towns stretching from Texas to Pennsylvania, scientists are paying close attention to how much of the is due to the return of LNI plus or minus O, a naturally occurring climate pattern that last drove a series of climate anomalies and extremes 4 years ago. LNI plus or minus O occurs when changes in the strength or direction of trade winds cause waters in the central and eastern tropical Pacific Ocean to become warmer than usual, which happen on erect L. The last major LNI plus or minus O occurred from 2015 to 2016, resulting in a record 16 tropical cyclones in the Pacific Basin and a global temperature record set in 2015. Last October, typically, LNI plus or minus O events increase rainfall across the country, particularly in the southern United States and parts of California. Elsewhere, drier climates tend to prevail during LNI plus or minus O events. The recurring climate phenomenon also affects hurricanes, which are usually suppressed in the Atlantic during LNI plus or minus O. Warmer water but while LNI plus or minus O events can curb the number of strong Atlantic hurricanes, the opposite is true for storms that develop in the Pacific. The relationship between LNI plus or minus O and tornadoes is less well understood. Within the planet's subtropical zone, where many of these weather systems develop, this spring has already seen its share of destructive tornadoes, with Texas, Missouri and Nebraska. Over a 12-day stay found that even a weak LNI plus or minus O could increase the risk of spring tornadoes in the upper Midwest. But at Florida State, Another thing that is not yet well understood is how LNI plus or minus O events may be affected by climate change. According to but Klotzbach said more research is needed, especially to determine whether any observed changes are due to global warming or natural variability in LNI plus or minus O cycles. Sign up for the and follow NBC News Mock on N. Search for location/city.
Raindrop, truck top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.